Obviously, let's start at home in the US. You're obviously going to have a very stable economy. You're going to have a very large ability to scale. Obviously, now with the diversity of America, depending on the city in which you are choosing for the contact center, you can have a variety of different languages that you can scale to a certain X amount outside of English. That is the general pricing that you typically see in the U.S. And I'll just go off of kind of a baseline customer service program with an agent that may have anywhere from 1 to 3 years of experience. You're going to fall somewhere generally in the 27 to let's say $30 range. That's commonly what I have seen in the competitive range of U.S. contact centers. Right, take a trip down south. Let's go to Central America, that being anywhere from, I would say, Mexico on down to, say, Panama. It's a wide range because, particularly within Mexico and a couple other markets in there like Honduras, the range is very low. In those particular markets, you're going to find pricing anywhere from $10 to $13. As you go further south in Central America, that range can expand anywhere from say $10 to $18, depending on the type of work that you're going to be sourcing and what you're looking at. South America, particularly Colombia, Argentina, those are two of the more robust, popular markets. Guyana is emerging as well. The European Union has a variety of kind of pricing structures. They're generally going to be north of $30 US, just because of the exchange and the cost of the euro there, and kind of what that represents. So you don't see generally a lot of US programs going to Europe, save for specific languages that you can't get elsewhere, just because of the cost structure. Usually, what we find with US customers, unless they have a UK office or a European office and they're supporting European customers, they would support it with perhaps a European or UK based contact center, but very few in scale. UK and European Union contact centers support U.S. customers. The majority of that, if you're going to go going to go out the U.S., you're usually going to go on a cost play, and that's generally not the cost play. It's usually a specific play that is unique to that that particular area. And I think I mentioned I was recently in Africa and South Africa. I have a lot of optimism for the growth of South Africa. It's a mature market. It's not new. It's been a BPO market for well over 20 years, but for U.S. customers, it was cost prohibitive for quite some time up until, funny enough, the World Cup tournament that came in, and they deployed a number of telco resources to expand the bandwidth for the media coverage. Was a huge what that left was a huge infrastructure upgrade, which now reduced the cost of telecommunications in large part. And now the South African cost structure is competitive to Mexico, competitive to the Philippines, competitive to India, where it wasn't before. So if you go back, 3 or 4 years now, you now see that there are a number of very large deployments going into South Africa, because outside of the India, the Philippines, true offshore call center markets that have low cost and scale, there really wasn't another major market like that could scale. And now South Africa's come into play. English is the main language, with other languages too, and it's a great English. Just think mix between Australian and the UK. So we get excited about hearing somebody with that kind of accent. So I have a lot of optimism for the growth of South Africa, having now been there and visited several centers, which are like A class, state of the art. I mean, really nice, really nice. So, that within itself. So, Asia, the Philippines has been a market, as I mentioned. India's been a market, as I mentioned. Pricing there, is going to run anywhere between, I would say safely, anywhere between like 10 and $15 an hour, probably lower than 15 in most cases. But um, they're still very attractive markets. But again, you don't choose the location because of the location. So you need to understand what it is you're trying to do, And then when you go into those markets, you need to know who to reach out to because it's very noisy. It's really noisy all over the world as well. And so it's important for you to kind of know your stuff or find somebody that knows your stuff or find a friend who's done this before and just kind of reach out to them and let them know.